Hey, when you guys slide the chairs over that way so you don't block the door, that's just fine. Y'all didn't want to sit up here.
Got 6:30, we'll call our meeting to order, please. Like to ask the officer if he can first. Want us down to pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And I will recite the Siler City mission statement. To advance a framework for our success through balanced government, dynamic partnerships, and an engaged community. And Commissioner Bray, if you would you read our vision statement?
Yes, thank you. Siler City is a safe, prosperous, and vibrant community where diversity, innovation, and education drive success in a globally competitive society.
All right, thank you. All right, do we have any adjustments to the agenda?
Not to the amended agenda, or we have an amended agenda.
You got an amendment and adjustments to that. Okay.
All right, motion to approve.
Okay. That, the agenda, we have a motion to approve the agenda.
So move.
Yeah. Okay, sorry. All right. All those in favor say aye. Okay. Motion carried.
For the consent agenda.
Motion is second. All those in favor say aye. And consent agenda is approved. All right, we'll move on. Old business. At-large commissioner. Thank you. All right. You want to say anything? I got some recommendations. Okay. All right. For our consideration tonight, we have two candidates that have two people expressed interest in the open commissioner at large seat. One of them is Mr. Donald Matthews, the other one is Mr. Jay Underwood, as you have seen the information in the packet. What I would like to recommend, of course, is that it's all according to what the commissioners would like to do. But what I'd like to recommend, we went back and looked at what we had done in previous circumstances like we did, is that I'd like to recommend that we have a special call meeting where we have a interview process where we interview both candidates. And that said, have like a short introductory time for each candidate. Then we have a question and answer period after that. And we interview them both separately. And then after that, we get together, have a session, and then we can vote on that. But I'd like to say that we do that in a separate meeting other than one of the meeting, not tonight anyway. So that would be what I'd recommend. So now we open that up for discussion.
I think that's what we've done in the last two times, something similar to that, is that when we did interview them, they had an opportunity to speak, and we had more questions. I think they had an opportunity for closing statements, and
Yeah.
I think. So I think that's a good idea.
That's what we normally do.
Yes, ma'am.
One thing that I remember that I had to do was that I had to do some priorities and submit that information to the board prior to coming in for the interview.
I think
And I
that's
just
the
wanted to-
top three issues.
Right. The things that I saw that were of importance at that time. So would that be a part, can that be a part of it? I mean, the reason being is we want to try to make sure that what we do is consistent. And so that would be something that we need to be a part, I would say needs to be a part of it because it's something that.
Well, I would think and we did that when Normal came through. I don't know that we did it when Bill came through, but I thought it was a good tool to have when Normal came through. I like being able to read those in advance.
It was the priorities, things that I saw that were a priority for the town of Siler City. And it was three, at least three.
Every candidate submitted what they felt were their top three issues facing the town.
Actually, I got two questions. This is from our offices. It's been up here too. When we had, it was you and two other candidates. You were all sitting in the same room when everyone was asked the questions. Is that correct?
That's correct, but, I'll say, one of the things that I felt is that we shouldn't have been in the room together. That I felt like we should have been interviewed separately. Instead of at the same, one person, all three of us in the room together.
Now, I think the second question was it an open, or it was an open session? Yes.
Yeah, I mean, that'd be
So it would have to be an open session.
the open session. And correct me if I'm wrong, Counselor, if after we do the interview process, can we go into closed session as a board to discuss anything before we then come out and do whatever we need to do?
Probably not. When something could present itself that would make it fair game for a closed session, but in general,
But the reason I asked that question was because when we interviewed and Jonathan Mayer and Bill was that we interviewed two others separately. But then when Mr. King's position, and we interviewed, they weren't all in the same room the first time and they were the second time, so I was a little bit wondering why that came about. And you know, what is the correct protocol for that, since the first time they were separated from each other, and then the second time they were not.
Well, I mean, I can speak to what happened then. So the first time, during, Commissioner HAIGES's, interviews, Mayor Grimes had called each individual member and asked them to sit outside. While it's a public meeting, he told them while it's a public meeting, he thought it would be respectful if they sat outside. And then when the next ones came around, it is a public meeting, so anybody can sit in there. So that's what happened between the first and the second one. Sure, sure.
I tend to agree with Commissioner Boone. I think if you're sitting in there and you hear the answer the first time, anybody who goes second as an advantage, and we probably shouldn't have done that to them. We probably shouldn't have done that to Commissioner Boone or two candidates. Probably should have kept them separate like we did the first time. But I do think we should probably give each candidate the opportunity and special call meeting to say their piece and then present their three top issues in writing. Commissioner Bill, what were you thinking on by Friday, or what were you thinking?
So I know we had to submit to the paper.
We did this time. I don't think that occurred when you came.
I,
Oh, you did? You
I had to submit to the Chatham News.
Okay,
All of us had to submit some information to the Chatham News. And then we also had to, submit to the board as well. I guess when we're thinking about doing the interview, and that can determine when to have the information in. So say for instance, and this is just a for instance, if the paper said that we needed to have it, they would need to have it probably by Friday. Maybe, yeah, I don't know. But, I know it was a quick turnaround.
on this one, I think the candidates may have already submitted to the paper for the election.
Because I was gonna ask, I mean, is it necessary to submit that to the
No,
newspaper? I mean,
it's not.
yeah.
I think it to submit it to the board though.
Well, yeah, I agree with everything else. I think you made some very valid points.
We had it in Thursday or Friday, we could do a call meeting on Monday.
Yeah, so I think that would be great. Yeah, 22.
So let me get started again. So when we interview each candidate, it is going to be a public open meeting.
Mhm,
So anyone can.
mhm.
That's what we said.
Yes, that's all we're gonna do.
But
The interview was
so
like
if
that.
you're interviewing me, be separate, and anyone that runs here, I have to say to it, and I agree, and the next person.
So I think you made a valid point about interviewing candidates separately and not, I think we missed that before. So I'm glad you brought that up.
No, I did. When you went through, do you recall how much time was given for opening statements and then questions and then a closing statement?
I want to think that it was a total of 40 minutes. So I guess we can structure it however we would like. To have an opening statement. No,
Like 5:30.
Five.
5.
yeah,
Even the last steps,
yeah,
that's,
yeah. That's why I'm probably 40 minutes max.
We got 5:30 and 5. Do you recall how much you had for opening?
I don't know. I don't remember. That's been a while. But I really think that the whole process was like 40 minutes.
So I think that's something 40, 45, something, I think you're right.
I can send y'all the agendas from the last 2 times along with the minutes, so you can see what questions were asked if you want me to.
That'd be great.
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah. So where we are, I'm just recapping of where we are with our discussion. It sounds like that, we're in agreement to have a separate meeting, call meeting, interview candidates separately, and have each candidate submit a list of 3 of their top priorities for Siler City. And the meeting would consist of 5-minute opening statement, 30 minutes for questioning from the board, and a 5-minute closing. And that's where we are at this point now. Is there anything, we left something out, or is there something else?
I think we just had a maximum of, because we might not question for 30 minutes, or the candidate might not have a full 5-minute closing statement, so I think we just say a maximum of
Maximum of 30 minutes,
40.
40. Oh,
I mean,
you talking about the whole?
5:30 time.
Yeah, maximum.
So each section would be a maximum of 5 minutes, maximum of 30 minutes, maximum of 5 minutes.
Okay.
Is the meeting on Monday gonna be at 5:30? Is that what y'all are saying? I'm
I think
hearing
we're-
5:30.
No.
No.
Not at 5:30.
Okay, so what time would y'all like to do it?
Do it
Um, 6:30?
6:30 normal time. Yeah,
Okay, 6.
can't get here at 6.
6:30.
6:30 on Monday, the 25th.
Okay. All right. So we need to make this in the form of, or any more discussion about it. I mean, all good, all good. Anything else? Do we need to make this in some kind of motion or something?
We have what you want. 25th at
Do we need to
6:30.
recap?
I can recap if you
Go
want me
ahead.
to. Okay, so you're gonna have a special call meeting on Monday, July 25th at 6:30 here in the library. And you're going to interview the two candidates separately, although it is an open meeting. And one will be at 6:30 and the other one will be at 7:15,
What gives us-
7:10.
Well, if you
That
said
gives you
we
5
could use
minutes.
5 minutes to
Right,
more or
okay,
something.
so 7:15 and 6:30 and 5-minute opening, 30 minutes questions from the board and 5-minute closing.
Only thing, the 3 questions from each candidate, when do they have to be into the clerk's office so they can be disseminated to the board?
Well, if it's on Monday, I mean, are you guys good with me sending you those answers on Monday morning? I mean, I'm trying to give the candidate as much time as possible.
That's fine. That's fine.
Is that okay? So I'll just have it due on Friday afternoon, and then that way I can send it to you guys as soon as I get it.
If they get it in earlier, can you send it earlier?
Absolutely.
Okay. That cover everything there? Think you got, you good, Jim?
Yes, sir.
Okay, all right, thank you for all y'all's input on that. And look forward to, getting that accomplished next month. All right. Let's drive on, new business.
William is prepared to speak on 5.1 and 5.2. Okay, well, I don't know if I say prepared. I didn't know about it until I got here, but I can address both. Let me just fly right into it later.
Go right ahead,
Okay.
William, what they
wanted
want.
to lead in with something.
No, go ahead.
Well, you had asked me, Aaron asked me about, is there anything that we can do locally in terms of a term limits or any way we could request, that not term limits for residential requirement. And, I have looked at that, and it's apparent to me that that is likely to be preempted by state law because the state law clearly sets out what the requirements to vote or to run are, and it's simply got to be qualified to vote in the election that you're seeking office. You can vote for that office, you can run for that office. There is, and you have to be a resident to be able to vote for the office. So in case of, say, District 5, for just an example, you got to live in District 5. to vote, therefore, you can vote, you can run for it. Now, there is no test or specific, it rarely comes up, although it does sometimes. I've been involved in one all my years doing this, where candidate in another jurisdiction, another town, didn't live at the address that he put down. In fact, nobody would be able to live at that address because it was a dilapidated house falling in. He did all of it, but he didn't live there, lived in another town. And I can't recall if it was the North Carolina Administrative Code that set forth the rules for contesting the legality of a candidate running for office. I think it might have been, but it was a procedure that involved local board of election. That town where I, on their behalf, alerted the board of election, local board of election of that issue, and a hearing was scheduled, and we presented evidence, much like at a trial, as to why we did not live there. It's impossible to live at that address. It may have been abolished by the town at that time. I know it was eventually, but anyway. And so the board ruled on it that night. His name was either taken off the ballot, or I think we got that done in sufficient time to, board's order was that it does not be placed on. And so that is the process, and I don't know, I'm not aware of any town who has established something in addition to that process, or on a local level. So it's doubtful that a special act of the General Assembly would be adopted that would change those rules that I just described.
I want to add something to what you just said. I just happened to be down at the Chatham County Board of Elections this past week for something else. I took the opportunity to talk to them about what we were talking about. And according to the Board of Elections down there, as far as residential requirements, they said that they informed me that that was entirely dependent upon whatever the town charter said in that's what they went by. And that when they looked it up and said our town charter says, well, you have to be a resident 30 days, something. They said the town is completely in charge of that. They could do what they wanted to, change it to wherever they wanted to, submit it to them, and then they would forward that on to the legislature. And said there wasn't any issue with that. That it was, because I thought like you that it was controlled by the state, but according to the Board of Elections, is not the case. For the municipal election only, they informed me that it was controlled by our town charter.
Does the charter, which I go back occasionally and read, but I don't recall that, does it say 30 days?
It does at this point, yes. That's what they
30
go by.
days, because like I said, I mentioned the local act would have to be done by some sort of local act by the General Assembly. Elevates it to the level of the state law. But I don't know of any, that very well might be the case, and I can call the Board of Elections about that.
I would like for you to
It
do
is
that, but there's a miscommunication there.
Yeah,
somewhere.
well, it's preempted, at least the process of having someone challenge if they say they've been there 30 days. Process then is a statewide process that I described earlier.
Yeah, and the way it was described to me, it doesn't have anything to do with being able to vote. It's just for that, whatever the current office is, you can have a residency requirement. And what you have to tell the Board of Election is how you going to administer that. And right now, it's 30 days because you got to be registered 30 days in order to be able to vote. If you just moved here from somewhere. But they also said that, we talked about some scenarios that you could possibly do. You could have a residency requirement and say, let's say for just example purposes, you say, well, you needed to live here in the city limits or whatever in the district or where it was for a year. And they said, you have to tell us how you're going to control it. Well, if you registered there in the moved or registered or whatever at a certain date, it'd be 1 year from that date when you registered to do that. And you just have to tell them that's how you want to do it.
Are you saying you have to live here for what the charter says before you can register to vote?
No, not before you register, just before you can run for the office.
Okay. All right, well, that's new to me, and I'll be happy to look into it and have that conversation with them, if that's the pleasure of the board. If there's any idea of what you want to change it to, assuming that we can legally request that with General Assembly grants it.
I don't see any reason why, if you're running for an office in the town, town was commissioner or mayor or whatever, I don't think it's unreasonable to ask if somebody has at least lived in here or in their district for at least a year before they run for that office. That gives them the opportunity to get to know the people, know what's going on, and be factual about what's happening. I don't see that that's unreasonable.
So this is purely an issue then of the length of time someone should be living in Siler City, which I may have misunderstood the issue.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just before they could actually hold an office.
Then when you talk to the, Board of Elections, in addition to, I guess at the same time, you're asking about the year, you asked them if there is some limit on the, timeframe that you put in the charter?
Yeah, I will. I mean, whatever we get the General Assembly to do, what the limit is.
Oh,
Since in the charter, that's something that, well, now there is a way that change the charter is there, without going through the General Assembly, but it's hard, as I recall, it might involve referendum.
I think what we may find is Board of Election, and both sides are right, Board of Election may be saying it's locally decided, but it'd be a local decision to change the charter if the General Assembly allows you to do so. So if you're charter, you're locally controlled in that sense, but only if the General Assembly allows you to have that language. That makes sense.
We need to check into that because they didn't seem to express that there was going to be a problem. Since it was controlled by the charter of the town, they point blank said the town controlled that. So whatever it was.
Bottom line is, under state law, if you can vote, you can run. So if there's a difference between registering to vote, if that's controlled by one thing, and then you can vote, you can run. That's state law. I don't think we can change that, which is what I thought we were talking about. Anyway, so I'll get the report back with the next regular. But there is a general consensus then, you might want to change it to something longer than 30 days. It'll take a while. It is
I
fine.
think it is, let's just.
Yeah. Right. Next year we'll have a local bill, consider, you have to get your local representative, local delegation to submit it on your behalf. That requires one thing, it's a good idea as well. So.
All right. Yeah, if you look into that, and you are correct, it takes some time to get done. All righty. Any more discussion about that? All right, let's move on to the next one.
will lead in with it. Is there, I was unfamiliar that this was something that was gonna be on the agenda. Is it,
that might be something we had to check with the BOE too. And whether that's in our charter or not.
it is,
So would
I
that be the
feel quite
same,
certain it is.
so that would be the same process then?
It's in the town code as well, but you can change that.
Does in the charter and well, when you're checking with the DOE, if you could check on 5.2, I'd like to know what the process is to increase that term to 2 to 4 years.
I can't remember, again, I apologize, I didn't know this was gonna be discussed, but I'm thinking that, you might know, that the term of the mayor is something that's set out in the statute, but I'm not sure, that I can get back to you on that one, too. Yeah, I did, wasn't there, really, go into that, but it says 2 years in the charter, so again, if I'm wrong about my suspicion that I've read that, this came up somewhere else and I looked into it, I'm going by memory from several years ago, but I do think, and I told them they couldn't because it was addressed by statute, but even things that are in a statute can be changed locally by special activity, special legislation.
And other discussion about that, before we go on to the next thing. Because we will check both of those things out for. Anything else? All righty, not. We'll go on to the manager's report.
Two things to report. Assistant Finance Director, from the last time we made a hire there, hoping to have her start the 1st of August after on board. The Public Works Director will plan to start next Monday on the 25th, so those are great hires that we've been able to make. Had a great couple meetings last few weeks with county manager, talking about a variety of things. That volunteer, we had a great discussion about future Parks and Rec and working together collaboratively with the county. Also had my first sit down with Chris Kennedy up in Pittsburgh, got to meet with him, talk some business. Great tours when we're doing our regular annual inspections. Chris and Brittany, I got a chance to see Brookwood Farms and down there and did a great tour of the facility. So I want to thank Mount for allowing me to go with them to do that. Friday, Chris, Brittany, Reed, and I sat down with David Honeycutt and Gary Jackson, one of their consultants, with the deal to discuss a strategic business plan to address our issues with the moratorium. Way DEP has left that to us, as I told you previously, is to outline a clear path forward for us to pass the moratorium. They put the ball back in our court and tell them what we plan to do, how we plan to address it. Go backwards is what we're having to do. So we're working together on a business plan to show not just what we plan to do, but also a timeline of events and how we can meet the targets and milestones that we hope to achieve. So that process is underway. Also want to point out some good news. We've had some funding come our way in the last few weeks that I wanted to share with you. Rural Business Development Grant, which is the fund development of our downtown streetscape improvement, and that's a plan update to USDA. We received a grant around $99,800. Great. Robert Reeves from the state legislature has been able to earmark $2 million for us in the state budget. This is going to address critical infrastructure needs to include water pressure pallet, water and sewer line improvement, sewer replacement, and water tank improvement, overseen by DEQ. We also have $5 million coming our way for sewer system rehab out of the ARPA funds. And then also do our HAIGES grant, Boston Interact Fund.
What was the last one?
Violence Against Women Act grant from the Government Crime Commission. $62,470 with a match $20,800. That supports the police department's domestic violence. And a lot of good news when it comes to grants in the last month or so. I want to make sure that you were aware of that. So, over $7 million in money the last year. So we're very fortunate on that. I also have noted on there, there's no materials to support it, they're just allowing the agenda package to the planning process. The reason that's there is I think that's something that we as a group ought to consider having. We as a group do not have a strategic plan. But what is that? It really is an opportunity for the board to come together and buy into a clear set of goals and objectives that you'd like us as an agency to achieve. And part of what I've seen in being here a couple of months is many of our departments work well within their silos of their department, but we need to be able to work together cohesively better and have clear direction from the board what it is you'd like for us to achieve and where we'd like to direct resources. As a town that expects to grow, this is getting beyond a helpful tool, but a necessity as we grow to make sure that we're providing the services and meeting the expectations of you and also for the public. How that would help us as a staff is by knowing what you see as your priorities and setting out goals and objectives that we can keep at the department level. It gives us a measurable tool that I can use as a manager to make sure we hold staff accountable for meeting the performance expectations, but also have a transparency and communication tool for the public. It gives you information to be able to go back to your constituents and say, these are the things that we're working on, without getting into the weeds of the day-to-day details of town municipal government. But I wanted to kind of gauge the room and see if there was an interest in going through that process. It's not a one-off meeting. It's something that would take several meetings and a lengthy period of time, but it's something that a lot of agencies benefit from.
So it sounds similar to the process we went through to develop our mission and vision statement, which have been very helpful guiding us. I'd be all for it to gotta call some other meetings, or we gotta call some Saturday workshops and
But that's at the discretion of the board, how you want to manage that.
I think we did Saturday workshops. We did, and then we have some from Chapel Hill come and help us with that. School of Government.
Yes, we're good.
Okay.
I think that would be a good idea.
Is that something you really need a consultant for, or something you want to try to put together in-house, or?
I would just point out that we've done that in the past. If you think we have the wherewithal to do it in-house, I'm always interested in what other people around think and say. So
Yeah,
if you think it'd be beneficial to bring in someone from the school government or the league of municipalities, then by all means bring them in if you think that's going to be beneficial.
and that would be something and keep in mind that that's going to be a lengthy process, and it's going to tie up a lot of our resources to do it. And we do that. I'm sure we've got the expertise to do it. But at the same time, there's some other fish in the pond out there that we're trying to land in the boat. And we don't want to overstretch ourselves too much there. So that's something you're just going to have to sort of gauge. And if it gets down to the point, like Mr. Bailey said, we may need some assistance somewhere from that. So
Sure.
something I forgot. I'd like to recognize Kathy Bassett down there, who is their some relation to the community. Yeah, that's it. Recognize her, she's got somebody she's gonna introduce. I'm sorry, I meant to do this earlier and I got tied up, so. You come up here and your name and your address and everything. You gotta be official.
Kathy Bassett, Director of Communications, Community Relations for Mount Airy Farms. Of course, we're located right here in Siler. My address is in Delaware. But I want to introduce our new Community Relations Manager, Cam Mills. Cam has been with us a little over a week now, so he's brand new to the company, but we're getting him schooled up on all things chicken and trying to get him schooled up on all things community. So he'll be your new point of contact for all kinds of stuff. We've been meeting with folks and getting them well acquainted. So please reach out and we're here to help. And thank you. Appreciate the opportunity.
And you will say anything?
Sure. I'm from Ashboro, so I'm right down the road. Siler City's not that unfamiliar to me. Went to Wingate University, played football down there. I've worked for Congressman Dan Bishop and then Congressman Richard Hudson, so I'm pretty familiar in the public scene when it comes to government and politics. But I look forward to working with Mount Airy. I look forward to working with you guys, and yeah. So if you guys need anything, give me a call over at Mount Airy, and I'll try to get all of your contact information and meet all of you individually throughout time. But appreciate you having me.
Right, thank you. All right. Department report. Anything? Nothing extra? All right. Town attorney information.
Don't have it.
Don't put you on the spot, nothing one on that one, yeah. All right, governing body comment. Clear.
It's getting hot. And it seems like that, especially Saturday, when I was going to McDonald's, getting breakfast, there was a horrible stench between Alpine Quarry and Mount Airy. Horrible. And I was wondering, where it's coming from, why it's coming. And that's not the first time.
Just at one time or what?
No, it's not. Pilot gets more things. And people that live near there, I see them in the grocery store and places, they have time. I don't think I'm the only person they told, maybe. You heard that on stuff, because it seems like sometimes I come and say things and they say, I haven't heard from you.
Thank you. We have our people look into it.
It's something that we have discussed. It's about this.
All right. You look into that for us, please, sir. All right. Well,
Hank, when you're looking into stuff, could you maybe do a study on what mayors in other municipalities similar to ours or their compensation is? What those factors might, what factors into that?
Okay.
oh, while you're doing it, since you brought that up, while you're doing that, you would include in that what commissioners in other municipalities, what their stipend is and stuff. The reason I'm saying this is that I can sort of tell you that we're going to be meeting a whole lot more, have more special meetings and things than we've had in the past. Don't know exactly what they're going to be or when they're going to be, but I can tell you that we all will be having some more. So I want to make sure that our board is looked after, because your time is just as valuable as anybody else's. So if you would add that into that study and sort of see where we are, because I understand Pittsburgh just up there, and a couple more. But add that in, if you would, please.
Pull that.
Yep. All right. Other comment? If none, oh, yeah, go ahead.
Hey, you see in the workers, field workers,
And what workers?
field workers.
Field workers. We have been able to make a few hires in the last week or two, but we still have some vacant positions for part of the work. But that's still, the challenge with that now is when you're filling a position, it's a hard one to pull to hire from. So when you're having to hire now, you're not typically hiring people with significant amounts of experience. So you're training people from the ground up. So that takes time as well.
Any other questions? I hear none, I hear that we go into closed session.
First session, the North Carolina General Statute, 143, 3, 11, and
As the sound, all those in favor say aye. Carries, closed session. Appreciate everybody coming and participating.